much for having me. I'm super honored to be always among jewelry lovers and the New York City Jewelry Week crew. And also, you couldn't find me in any happier place than to be talking with Silvia. And, you know, as I put pen to paper and started thinking about the opportunity to talk to Silvia about the creative process, the first word out on the piece of paper was joy. And I thought that it would be the best place to start the conversation about talking about the emotion of jewelry and like the true joy that Silvia's jewelry brings me as an individual, as a, you know, a jewelry merchant, and to talk about this idea that joy and beauty have such a real value today. They always have, but today in our new world, this search for joy and beauty is so essential to us. So, you know, like when I think about the joy that the jewelry brings me, Silvia's jewelry brings me, it's about the color and, you know, the motifs, and talking about the inception and the conception of the collection, getting the collection into the store and talking to my associates about it, and then having that wonderful piece go home with one of my treasured customers. So given that joy, this is such a joyful collection and such a joyful relationship that I have with Silvia, I kind of wanted to ask her to talk about her work and the development of the bamboo collection, or maybe all of her collections, with this idea through the lens of emotion and joyfulness.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Amy, first of all, I want to thank you for the, you know, another interview with you. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And I'm very happy to share, you know, my ideas with the people. And you were talking about joy. And this is something that I have in my work. It's the first thing. It's that I love what I do. I think this is the first step to do something in your life, to really love what you do. Even if there are certain things that you don't like in the work, I think this is part of the work. But the most thing I love to do, as you said, it's work with colors, to travel and to know very interesting people that I meet in my life, those mainly here in Brazil, those artisans that I make collaborations with. It's something that I love to do, to travel, to explore, discover, you know, something new. Even if those people do something a long time, even for generations, I like to give another tone, you know, in their work, and develop something together with 4, 10 hands. And this is something that I really, really love to do. And I think this makes the whole difference in the results when you launch a collection. For instance, this Amazonia bamboo, where I mixed 2 techniques, one from Japan and one from Brazil. And this, the result is very satisfying, you know, when you see everything ready with the stones, with the golds. And this is what I really love to do.
Mm-hmm. When we got the collection in the store, first of all, it had been much anticipated. And to see the results, it was another level of joy, that it really, especially talking with the associates and having them be able to talk with you about the collection, it really, it was a really happy moment, and we really needed that happiness, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's true, because we are separated, but we are together, thanks for the technology that we can share the pictures and the lives. And I think it's I like very much to share, you know, this, as you said, this joy of making this happen. Okay?
Yeah. I think that, and I still think it's joyful to talk about it, but you know, I wanted to sort of segue a little bit into this idea of storytelling, and I think that, you know, in general, and I think it's the truth, but I've also heard Stelline talk about the stories that jewelry tells about humanity and sort of the interest that that has for so many people that collect jewelry and are involved in our industry, that jewelry really tells, and stones in general, tell these amazing stories about humanity, you know, from, you know, roles of masculinity and femininity to this, you know, again, the search for the ever-ending search for beauty, you know, stories about migration, stories about modernity, stories about art, and you know, general, you know, I think moving forward, I think that jewelry tells that story, but again, in such an interesting way. You tell that story as well, in as you sort of explore cultures and bring that story to us. You tell it through the motifs, you tell it through this the cultural exploration that you have in your jewelry. And I was wondering if you could sort of talk about storytelling, that and you know what it means to you, because I feel like it's a really important part of your jewelry.
Yes, storytelling, it's something in my work, it's very, very natural. It's not that I think about which story is gonna happen. I think this happens anyway, because the beginning of the collection, when I put everything on my notebook, where I designed the collection, where all the prototypes, I imagine. Then it starts with a trip, you know. I always go to the field, if I can say this, where I'm going to meet the people who's going to make this happen, you know, like the craftsmen, the artisans that I'm going to meet. And generate those artisans, this is the first adventure that usually they are in a very remote place, you know, so you have to get there. It's a very long way to get there. It's a remote place. It doesn't have, like, you know, nothing, you know. It's something. I have just came this weekend to a very, very nice place in Brazil, in the north of Brazil, where I'm beginning my process of storytelling. And this place I have been, it's the interior of the state of Alagoas in the north of Brazil. I went to visit an artisan that works with sculptures in wood. And this was an adventure, you know, to get there. Of course, we are lost in the middle of the road. And then we arrived in his place. And this is what gives me a lot of joy to meet those people, to talk with them, to explain what I want. Usually they don't understand what my object, because I have everything in my mind, but they don't have it. So it's a pleasure, because we usually I stay in their houses. I know how they live, and it's an experience for me, and this is what gives me a lot of pleasure. Not that when the jewelry is ready, it's okay, it's very nice, but what I like to do is those strips with the challenging, you know, of each project, how they are going to make it. First, I find a lot of difficulty in this, but I like those difficulties, you know what I mean? So this is part of this storytelling, to go to beautiful, usually those places are in the middle of nature. And this is what amazes me, to be in those places, to have such new experiences for me, you know, with a new family, with a new artisan. And this is part of the storytelling. At the end, the storytelling is ready already, you know. I just have to collect in my mind everything that I felt, that I experienced. So it's something natural. I don't have to make anything up. You know what I mean? It's everything is ready.
I know exactly what you mean. And I think one of the most amazing pieces that we have to help us with our storytelling at retail is your book, your scrapbook, and like that book that you put together about your entire process. Is that something that you do during the process? Is it like continual, or is it sort of something that where you're looking back and you put it together, or is it both of those things?
It's both. Usually I begin like months or years before with my ideas, with everything that I plan. But for instance, a book is like something alive. Even in the past collection, I still do the book, you know. If I have another idea, I come back to the book of each collection and I write something, or I copy, or I paste something, a new picture. And for instance, the book of the Amazonia bamboo, it's ready, but everything, a new item is coming out. I go there, I take a picture, I cut the picture, and I paste on the book. So I write something new, because this is something alive, you know. I always, it's something that is a reference book now, but it's always is open, you know. I leave some pages where I can put new things, so it never stops. But for instance, I'm working now already in the next collection. I started the book, I'm writing, and it's gonna be something like a guide for me, because if I don't do those books, I get a little bit lost, you know. So it's something alive that I always come back to.
Well, we like at the store at Bergdorf's, having that reference has always been really helpful for us. You know, we talk about a lot about storytelling in retail, and you know, at Bergdorf's, one could say we're at a pinnacle retail establishment where we're selling wares that, you know, are at the top of, you know, it's jewelry and different categories of merchandise that's really so elevated and at the very top of the, you know, pinnacle, so to speak. And, you know, it's not just clothes, or it's not just an earring. There's a story that goes so much behind it, and the feeling and the emotion. And we really, I think part of our sales technique is to incorporate that and to share that information with our customers. And the more that we're able to share that and to have that information, I feel that that's where we really create collectors. And I think that your storytelling that you do is probably the reason why we have this continual flow of the same customer over and over again, that just has fallen in love with you and your collections. So there cannot be enough storytelling.
Yeah, I understand. And I had this experience some time ago, because we make catalogs when the collection is ready. So we make up the environment, we take the pictures, it's very nice. But as my experience, when I show my books, the people love much more, you know, because they see a lot of, it's deeper, you know, where all the wrong things happen also. It's everything, it's, you know, in the book, you know. So I think in my experience, this made a much more success to see my books than to see a beautiful catalog, you know, with the jewelry ready. I think the people love to see the process, you know.
Well, I can speak from a personal perspective, you know, and having, you know, engaged with your work. my mother is an artist. She's a print artist. And so part of that is working with wood. And so I felt like this immediate connection to the jewelry in general, but it was really the motif of the birds that sort of connected me initially, because there's my mother's reoccurring theme in her art is birds, all sorts of birds. They're hiding in everything that she ever really, every print that she makes and every watercolor that she paints. And you know, having that sort of feeling of connection draws us closer, right? And so that's what you're talking about, really being engaged or having a personal connection, and going back to that sort of emotion that we were talking about before.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I know that, you know, you had this bamboo collection when we first talked about it. And I want to tell you, Silvia, that I looked back and it is a year to the day. Today is the 16th, right? And it was almost a year to the day that you first were telling me about the bamboo collection, and you were talking to me and the president of Bergdorf, Darcy, about your new collection. It was almost like a secret because you were launching the India collection.
Yeah.
And you were talking about materials and sustainability. And you really grabbed my attention because, you know, inherent in your promise, your brand promise with the marquetry in the woods is a sense of sustainability, but it's not really at the forefront, you know, like of what you talk about, because, you know, you have a whole aura of creativity, and sustainability is a piece of it, and the materials that you use is a piece of it. But when you started to talk to me and Darcy about the bamboo collection, what I was really impressed with was the broader sense of sustainability that you brought into context. It wasn't just about the materials, but it was about craftsmen and jobs. And it was a much like more alive 360 thought process about sustainability. And today, it's almost like sustainability is a word that means almost whatever anybody wants it to be. But I felt when you talked to me about it, it felt very real and very thoughtful. And I wanted to maybe explore a little bit about the materials that you use and the artisans that you work with that are like this part of your brand, but maybe what this word sustainability means to you.
Sustainability is something that was happening in my work since the beginning, because I always was in search of new materials to mix with gold and stones. And it was a natural process that I found wood, to work in wood. That's something that I love very much. And now, the difference now, before it was something natural, but now I search for those products. What is sustainable in the world of today? Because this is a jewelry. Of course, you have to use the precious materials, the precious stones, but you can use this in a smaller scale. You know, you can enhance craftsmanship. That's, for me, is more like the concept of a jewelry. It's more than the material. You know what I mean? I think the way a craft is done, it's more important than the value of the gold and the jewelry, but the mixture of them together it's important nowadays. And nowadays I make this research to try to use more sustainable products. And bamboo was something that I found, and I make a deep, you know, immersion in the material, in the raw material. And it's amazing, you know, it's something that I don't want to stop using bamboo, you know what I mean, in the next collection.
Never stop.
Because this is going to happen in the next collection, because you can use the raw material, but in another aspect, you know what I mean? And I think bamboo for me until today was the most beautiful and sustainable material I have ever seen, because it grows so fast. You don't endanger the environment with the plantations, and you can do a lot of things with bamboo, a lot of cooking appliances, and you can do jewelry, you can make basketry, you can make a lot of things, and the material is so beautiful. The way you can manage with the material. So I think in between marquetry and bamboo, I think I'm going to make a lot of collections, you know. It doesn't have to be only the Amazonia bamboo collection. I'm trying to make it another meaning, you know, for the bamboo from now on, because I have this experience to, even what I want to learn by myself, like how to make a basketry, because I know I'm going to use it later on. So nowadays I'm in search of those new materials, maybe in technological materials, but natural, organic also, but always with this philosophy, you know, that my jewelry, I want to go in this path. It's this new path in this new world with this kind of jewelry, you know, less the traditional materials like the metal and the stones. But of course, we have to enhance in terms of colors with those materials, but in a less smaller scale.
I think that, you know, maybe that's like the perfect time. We didn't really think about it this way because we're talking about New York City Jewelry Week and your jewelry collection. But I think that something that you said there, and that exploration and that openness, makes me think, you know, like, and you're saying you're going to do more and more. It makes me think there's so much, you know, so much room to develop, and jewelry really as a piece of art, there's so much sort of connection between jewelry that we wear on our body and the jewels that we keep at home, and the beautiful things and sculptures that we surround ourselves with. And I wanted to take a moment and break, because it seems like the bamboo collection is a perfect material to enhance your home collection, which I'm, you know, have been wild about and has been wildly successful at Bergdorf's as well. And do you, like, is this something that you see moving into the home collection as well?
Yes, of course, it's going to, that's what I'm working right now in developing with all the resources that I have in terms of material, to mix them, because I think this is the thing that in culture terms, I think to join cultures it's amazing for me. You know, to take Japan and mix it with Amazonia and mix all those people, you know, to work together. And the result, I think it's going to be very nice, because you are dealing with people all the time, you know, with nice people. So I think it's, I'm going to use in the home collection all those techniques in another way. You know, they are going to look very different, but they are going to have the same material, you know.
And I just couldn't be,
marquetry, yeah.
It's like the perfect timing. It was almost like you were ahead of the curve in that sense, because there's nothing that's as important as home today, you know?
Yeah,
and you have created something that really is so true to your brand and to your person and to the beauty and the joy, that who wouldn't want to have those pieces at home, you know, and be part of the world that we look at, and then, you know, reflected when we look at the mirror, and you have something similar as well.
That's it. You don't have to use the jewelry. You have to admire. And for me, the back of the jewelry is more important than the front. So I always pay attention how I'm going to make like little details that only you can see, you know, not the people that is in front of you. So I think those values nowadays are very important. You know, you do with your heart, you do it with your soul, and you connect really with the people that work together. So we make like a you know, a group of artisans that work together and go to a place together, you know. And I think I always tell the people that we work together, that it's not only my skill, it's everybody's skills mixed together. I think this is my new philosophy from now on, you know. Yeah. It's not about the ego that I did this. It's about we did this, you know.
Well, I think that has been always a piece of what is so admirable, and, you know, sort of speaking about craftsmanship and making jewelry for women, as opposed to, like, again, making jewelry for ego or collection, because you put on the piece of jewelry and it's, like you said, you're looking at the back of it because a woman looks at the back of her jewelry. Or when you put on a pair of earrings, it's comfortable and the post is in the right spot. Or, you know, like, and the detail of that work is the unsung hero of successful jewelry. People from the outside don't see that, but the woman that wears it feels that, and it becomes part of the feeling of wearing the jewelry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, I know that it was talking about materials and sustainability, but you really, you know, you caught me, and really this discussion point became something so much more about like art and craftsmanship and the feeling behind making jewelry. It is really so insightful. I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, when I think about, you know, the things that we talked about, this emotion and the storytelling and the materials and the craftsmanship, you know, it really brings us back to, you know, probably if it were any other day, Silvia, it would have been the first point of my conversation. Is all of these things are integral to your success at retail. And, you know, and really have combined to be, you know, such a powerful, successful brand at Bergdorf Goodman. Just like your exploration, the joy that you bring, the stories that we're able to tell in the case line, and then add to when people get to know the brand a little bit more. But, you know, like, it kind of feels to me, and I know that this is not the truth, but it's like you sprang fully developed with this incredible perspective and strong point of view, and that you maintain it in the most incredible way, even as you introduce new. And I know that that can't be, but that's the sort of singular feeling that you get when you look at the case line, is everything is so fully formed. But maybe, you know, so to speak, opening the kimono a little bit, you know, with a reference, a wink, wink, nod, nod to the Obi collection. But could you talk a little bit about like this importance, this incredible importance of creating this and maintaining this point of view, and how that happens in your creative process?
You know, I think if you know my work deeply, I do a collection, but this collection is going to be alive in the next collection, you know, because I always will do something about Obi also, you know, about a pattern of Obi, or a fragment, an antique fragment that resembles like a Buddha or a Japan Netsuke, but I can join the cultures, you know, because everything it's you can, Now my next collection, I'm trying to, it's not from something from Brazil, but I'll always make a connection with Brazil, because I think we have we are a so rich country in terms of size, beauty, nature, and people. So I always try to get this a relationship between this and outside, you know. And I think I can take the techniques I learned, and I make this happen and introduce in the, it's only a question of inspiration, you know, the next, what I'm going to do next, what I'm going to do new, because this is something that I always in search, something new that nobody did before. And this is, then I say, I can do it, because everything is reinterpreted. Nothing is new, really, because this was made thousands of years before. But you can give a new meaning. You know what I mean? You can make something happen in the meaning of it. And
it's
that's,
like
I think,
it's like a living
yes.
thing, your brand.
Yes,
you know, because
yes.
it's a constant reinterpretation and a constant, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, reinterpretation, that's it.
Yeah. I would have to say, you know, a part of the joy, of course, as a merchant and being involved in the business is seeing how successful the brand is. You know, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a happy moment, like, to have such a great performing brand in the store. You know, like, and I feel like, you know, like it's always great to have success, you know, but I think, you know, like, and it seems, you know, like I said, it seems like effortless, but, you know, maybe for some of the people, I'm sure there are people here that are, you know, thinking about going into the jewelry industry, or thinking about being part of our industry more than just buying jewelry. You know, how do you find people like me that are just like, you know, just so on your level and want to support your vision? How do you connect with those people? How do you search them out, or did they find you? How does that happen for you?
I really didn't understand your question.
Oh, I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, like, I am such a believer in your brand, and as is everybody at Bergdorf Goodman. But, you know, for some people that are thinking about developing a brand, or going into the industry, how do you, like, if you were to give advice to
now I understood. Now I understood.
How do you explain your vision, and, you know, like, find people that believe in it, and find stores that support you? Because it's more, you know, more than just the success, it's believing, right? You know, and seeing the vision.
It's true believing. And I think the advice I could give to those people is, first of all, if you are going to make a business, you have to like the business, you know, you have to really love the business, and to believe in yourself, on your intuition, on your new ideas. Because sometimes I ask myself, I think I'm getting crazy, you know, because you have to think out of the box. And sometimes I feel, oh, I'm crazy. Imagine to make something like this. But this is the turning point. You have to believe in this, in your intuitions, in your new ideas. If the people outside of you is gonna like, is gonna buy your things, or is gonna admire your work, this is not your business anymore. This is something that is gonna happen, you know. But I think the advice is like this: you have to believe what you are doing, and trust your inner self, that what you are seeing, the people someday will see. Because at the beginning of my career, I was with those very, very new ideas, and I think, I have to leave from this business, but I'm going to go in this path that is in the known, that is in the path that the people is going to, I'm going to do a jewelry to make the people's expectation, or I'm going to believe in my heart and do what I really believe. And then I choose this way, that I believe in those different materials. The people are going to say, ah, this is not jewelry because jewelry is only diamonds with gold. But I went to this path and believe myself. So I think this is the advice that I give to somebody that is beginning or something that wants to go to this business. It's really believe in your ideas, in your, what really it's important, not to make the expectation of the others fulfilled, you know. You have to make like surprises to the people. This is what the people, I think, in the subconscious mind wants to be surprised with something, not with the same thing all over again, you know. I think, for instance, this feather, the first time I create this wood, this sculpture, this is like this size. And I said, this is so big. It's never gonna sell such a big brooch like this. But it was so beautiful that I said, let's make this. So this, we took this to PAD London, and it was the first piece that somebody liked it, you know. So you have to believe in what you are creating. I think this is the advice I give to people that are, if I answered your question.
No, you absolutely did. I think that, you know, in the most real way, and I think a lot of times people look to retailers or to designers and artists to be the medium of exchange. So to tell a story, right? And to tell a story truthfully, you got to believe in it, right? And that, so like that's the underpinning and like the real truth of it. You know, I think that the real truth is to believe in and to be present in your world and just to love it, right?
Yeah.
But then you're really telling the truth. You're telling your
yes.
true story.
It's just to tell the truth to yourself and to the other. No?
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
And it's very simple when you get down.
It's simple, but it's not so simple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, this is a great time, you know, like we sort of started to talk about like emotion, and, you know, we sort of touched on, you know, the changes in our lives and how home is so important, and, you know, how times of change and crisis lead to change in itself, right? And, you know, many times it leads to great change in art and jewelry. And this world that we live in, you know, where we're, you know, one would say if it wasn't for COVID, I would be sitting next to you and we would be having this conversation with a group of people surrounding us. But this has definitely reshaped the way we live and our industry and the way we sort of maneuver through our world. So you know, it's sort of a broad question, but sort of how has this particular time changed your creative process in just the ideation of your new collections, which has so been about travel and exploration, to manufacturing and selling, and to communicating with both me, like your customer, you know, your retailer customer, but also the end customers? How has this changed the way you do things?
It changed a lot because for the first time, I didn't travel. I stayed in my new office, and I think the work came to a very deep level because I had all the time in the world, you know, to do my creations, because I always was traveling and rushing and doing things. Now I have more time, you know, to think more, to meditate, to have intuitions, and to feel more, you know. So I think in this way, I think the work is going to another direction. In this direction, we have more settlement, you know. You are more calm, so you can, the quality of the work becomes better. I don't have to create like a collection of 200 pieces, but if I make well 50 pieces, but with a very deep meaning, so I don't need to create 200, you know. So I have more time to go deep in myself, inside myself, and the process of creation, it's for me, it's amazing, you know, to have time to stay in the office, not to lose time, you know, in airplanes. But I feel I need to travel, you know. I have to go to those remote places. I need to keep on, but let's wait a little bit and do like we are doing, because everything life goes away and passes. So we are going to pass through all this situation, and it's going to be another reality, you know, that we have to adapt ourselves.
I think that it is something you said, I think, is something that I personally want to keep focus on and bring with me as we emerge from this time period, is that sense of time that you were talking about, and the elasticity of time, and how we can do different things. Because that's a funny thing about this period of time for me, is that it's felt so different, and the things that I've been able to accomplish and the way I've been able to think has been so singularly different than any other time period of my life. So I really appreciate you saying that. And for me, that's something that I definitely want to carry over, that appreciation that time can be elastic and it's what we make of it. And I want to very much bring that into the future with me, because I think it's one of the positives in a place where there,
because as you have more time, you can do different things that you are used to do. So you can play a new instrument, that this is going to help you with your work also, you know. You're not going to be so stressed as we were in the last chapter of our lives, you know.
Well, I hope that we can take this with us, this sort of sense of time and elasticity, and the sort of thought process that maybe, you know, time is what we make of it, and we can be sort of more in control and not always running around like crazy people.
Yes, like crazy, yes.
Like crazy, right? But that being said, and we spoke so much about new and, you know, and the process, the creations or whatever, can you give us any hints about what we might see from you soon?
So many things. So many things. I have this problem, you know, I don't stop creating, you know. I don't have the time, you know, to put in reality all of my ideas. But the new things that we are launching, the home collection, you had the chance to have like a little sample last year, but now it's going deeper and deeper. That's why I just came this weekend. All the week I stay in this place. We are making beautiful things in the home collection, but in a way that it's not, they are functional objects, but they are more art work, you know, like just to admire, you know, you see to admire in your home. And now in terms of the jewelry, we are planning like, I prefer not to be a surprise, but it's going to be a very colorful, with a lot of colors, with a lot of history, a lot of storytelling, with a new interpretation. It's, but in a while I can share with you when I have more.
I can't wait. I knew it was a risky question, but I had to ask. But whatever it is, I cannot wait, because I'm sure that it will bring me joy. And I can't wait to have that time in which I can talk to you about it and I can explore that collection, because really, like, again, I just have to say that that's the real word, Silvia, is joy. You bring me a lot of joy.
Yes, joy. And I'm very happy that because next week on the 23rd, we are launching our book. It's the compilation of the last 15 years of work. So it's beautiful. It's a book from Asolin. You're going to have one. And I think this book is going to tell who I am, you know, because it's very beautiful and it's very, with all the collections made before, I think it's, we go to another way after this book, because this is the compilation of the last 15 years of work. So it's very nice. I'm very happy, you know, with the book.
Having a sneak preview of the book and having seen it, I can concur. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful compilation and well done and, you know, amazing. Silvia, are you open to having any questions from the audience? I don't know, we didn't really talk about it, but we have a little time.
Of course, I'm here. If someone wants to ask something, let me just put in my... Cadê, Nuri? Para aparecer as pessoas. I cannot see the people because I have the pictures, no problem. But I'm happy to answer the questions, no problem.
I think I'm looking at the chat comment and everybody is talking about how amazing you are and how beautiful your work is, and they've been so excited to learn about it.
Yes, because this is what it's nice, because a lot of people doesn't know me, you know. Yeah. Maybe a lot of people are seeing the work for the first time. Yeah. Even if we make a lot of communication, it's never enough because the word's too big, you know.
Well, here's a question just came in from the chat from Anna Monette. How do you connect with the artisans that you work with?
Depends. Sometimes it's by chance. I know somebody. When I travel, I always go to places that I know the people do a kind of craftsmanship. So I go to those places and try to find all the artists, mainly the women that do something with the hands. This is a focus that I have in my trips, that I go to places that have something, the people do something with their hands. This is one way. Another way is to, like, we have the internet, we can search, you know, all over the world what people do. Or sometimes if I'm in a museum, I see like the miniature paintings you are seeing on the screen. I saw in Metropolitan like the exhibition of miniature paintings. So the next year I went to Udaipur School of Painting, miniature paintings in India, to research about this technique and make this happen in a jewelry, in a piece of jewelry, because those are little pictures, you know, that you hang on the wall. So this is what I love to do, you know, to make this transformation of their craftsmanship in a piece of jewelry that you can, it's a wearable art, you know, you can wear this is an example. This, I have seen this in a picture and on a wall, and this came as a necklace, you know, that you can use. So it's a long way, you know, to make something durable, make something that's not gonna break. And this is the challenge. This is what I like to do.
That's amazing. Let's see. Any other questions? Oh, there's a lot of questions about where you get the book.
The book is going to be for sale from 23rd on through my website. There is a link that you can have the book or in the Asulin stores all over the world.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that that have really appreciated. Here's like a really nice thing. They so appreciate the attention to detail and the commitment to craftsmanship that you champion. It's really inspiring to a fellow artist and designer. So I think you've really touched a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you. They are asking if those are enamel paintings. No, it's not. The technique is not enamel, and the technique is miniature painting made with some pigments with a lacquer that they paint with a very, very thin brushes, and it's like some water-based paint that we make like some finishing that it becomes waterproof. But enamel, it's something that goes in the oven, in the heat, that it's another technique, doesn't have shine, the shine of the enamel. It's painting, real painting, as if you see in a picture.
Well, here's another really interesting question, and I'd love to know the answer to this as well. How long does it take you sort of from the idea when you get to, like, say, I have an idea about a new collection, from that inception point to learning, to creating, to trying it out? Like, how long is the process normally for you to bring a new collection to market?
I would say years, but at least 2 years until the whole process, since the I had the idea until the jewelry is ready, 2 years.
2 years.
Around 2 years around, yeah. Because sometimes a technique doesn't work in jewelry, you know, so we have to make something different, new. And for instance, this is the craftsmanship from Taj Mahal, this earring that's in the picture. So, but if you take a marble, it's very thick, you know, it's heavy. So you have to make like a slice, you know, very thin, with the same look, with the inlay of stones. And this takes time, you know, even for the artisan, because he has to learn something new also to make it light, because you cannot hang something heavy in your ears. So you have to adapt, you know.
Well, I think some of these earrings are showing some of my favorite, one of the favorite things that I have about your art is the sort of asymmetry that you play with, that, you know, sometimes it's not, everything is not the same. There's different stones at the top of the earring. There's like a playfulness of the placement of motifs earring to earring, and I love that. I think that's so so amazing to look at, but also so incredibly sophisticated.
Yes, I like to do this because, first of all, if something I don't have, for instance, one fragment of something, and I don't have two to make an earring, so I adapt something that looks beautiful when you mix. You know, you make a mirror, or you change the color of the stones. I think this, as you said, I can play with it. It's not by the book, you know, that it has to be exactly the same. And this is like a philosophy that I learned through my trips to Japan, that it's part of the philosophy called wabi-sabi, where you can see imperfection, and it's beautiful in the same way, because if they break like a porcelain, the Occidentals, they throw it away, but in Japan or in Asia, they get it together with glue and they make something new, and even it's more beautiful. This is like the wabi-sabi philosophy that, because the nature, if you look deeply, it's imperfect. All the trees are you know, they are not a straight line. It's very organic. So it's a learning from nature. It's more natural to be imperfect, not everything is geometric in terms of statics. You can, like this earring of Druze, it's you can put with the top and you can put the bottom in the other ear, and it's amazing. Then you change the colors of the pearls. So
those leaves I love those leaf earrings. I mean, I can't, I remember them, I love them. I don't think I'm ever going to get over them.
Because, for instance, these earrings is one of a kind, each one, because these are antique fragments. So I made a way to make into an earring, to use together. So I think it's very nice. I love it.
I love it too. I love it too.
It's nice to see something from a long time ago. I see again, and I think it's very nice.
I do too. And it's like one of those things that it makes me happy to look back and remember and see some favorite things.
Yeah.
The photography is beautiful, always.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I feel that we are wrapping up here. I think that there are a lot of comments, Silvia, that you are an incredible person and an incredible artist, and so complimentary. And I always I say the same. So
thank you so much. Thank you, and I'm very happy to be with you, with all. With Bird of Woman, I love the salespeople. I love to be with you. Unfortunately, we cannot be together at this time, but I'm sure next year I'm coming back. I would love to talk more about this collection or the future collection with you personally. I think the change is deeper than like the computers and the iPads. But I think it's gonna happen again. It's only a question of time.
Yes, well then I can't wait for that time.
Yeah.
And you'll be looking forward to it, as will everybody at Bergdorf's, because it's not only me that you bring the joy to, Silvia. They all love you too. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time and your openness and your honesty. I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this, and
thank you
to
so
all
much.
the people that came with us on this journey. Thank you, New York City Jewelry Week.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Oh my God.